Hey guys, I wanted to talk today just about my top 5 quarterbacks in NFL history. This is a big list for me. I know you guys aren't really going to approve of it just because of where I have some guys ranked, but that's what it's about. Let's debate. I love talking good football. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, but let's get it underway. Number 1, I actually have Peyton Manning, and this dude is proven. He is insane. A lot of people want to talk about, what about those early playoff games where he threw some interceptions? Who else did he have on his team? Yeah, he had great wide receivers, but again, name a good defensive player Peyton Manning had besides Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney. He had okay players, certainly not great, certainly not Hall of Famers like some other guys on my list have. Peyton Manning, and he broke the touchdown record and yards record, actually shattered them. If you look at the first and him being first and what second, shattered it, didn't just break it, shattered it. Next up is Dan Marino, and I know this guy doesn't have Super Bowls to support his argument, but if you look back at what he did, again, he similar to Manning, but kind of even worse. He didn't have a defense to play with or a running game. A lot of the times, his leading rushers for the years would have 600, 700 yards, which is terrible. And his defense was just atrocious. There was a reason the fake spike game was an actual memory. It's because he would have to be in those shootouts to win games. And he did it when rules didn't favor the offense. That's what makes his 48 touchdowns and 5,000 yards amazing, is he didn't have the rules that were today. It was still late hits on quarterbacks, tough on offenses. And if you look at some of his highlights, he threw an amazing ball. Dan Marino does not get enough credit for being a top-flight NFL quarterback. I know he's mentioned, but I would say he's right up there with the greatest. Number 3, Joe Montana. This dude is 4-0 in Super Bowls and just is an amazing field general. This dude literally has everything. Toughness, I know some of the injuries he had late in his career made him miss games. He took hard hits all the time, similar to Marino, and kind of getting in even earlier. He played in an era where defenses could just tee off on quarterbacks, and it was harder to complete passes, as a lot of pass interference calls that would be called in today's world weren't called back then. Hats off to Joe Montana, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and actually went 4-0 in Super Bowls. That's fantastic. Now, number 4, I do have to give Tom Brady some credit. He has led a lot of great teams, won a lot of Super Bowls. I think he's been to the Super Bowl 8 years out of his career, which is 50% of the time, that's impressive. That's impressive. And more impressively than that, he has a winning record in Super Bowls at 5-3. So that's huge. You got to give him credit for that. Him and Bill Belichick are really kind of pairing up to rivaling Dan Marino and Don Shula as the greatest head coach quarterback combo of all time. I know I give Brady a lot of hate, but overall, you have to definitely look at his career. Similar to Manning, whenever Brady does retire, he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I know Manning's is coming up, so anxious to see that there. And then number 5, I actually have to give this to a throwback, Johnny Unitas, the dude who played for the Baltimore Colts in the late 50s through the 60s. I think he had 1 year in the 70s maybe, and then he did finish his career out with the San Diego Chargers. But we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on really the beginning and end of his career. He actually played in the first overtime game ever. He was really the quarterback who invented the 2-minute drill, just driving his team down to win the game late. really, he's one of the quarterbacks who perfected passing the ball. I know he wasn't the first to have 4,000 yards passing or anything like that, but if you really look at how what he has done, all of his accomplishments, he was one of the first to do it, and that's just fantastic. You definitely can't tell the story of the NFL while leaving out Johnny Unitas. So guys, just to summarize, I had Peyton Manning number 1, Dan Marino number 2, Joe Montana number 3, Tom Brady number 4, and Johnny Unitas number 5. Tell me some quarterbacks that you think should have been on this list. Let's debate, guys. Tell me what you think. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.